Moody is here with business.
Hi, Monty.
So, Kate, we're starting with Google facing another antitrust probe here in Europe.
Yeah, the EU's anti-competition regulators have launched a fresh investigation into the tech giant, this time targeting whether Google is favoring its own online advertising technology services at the expense of other publishers and advertisers. The European Commission is looking in particular at whether the US tech giant is restricting access by third parties to user data on websites and apps. Google argues that clients choose its products because they are effective. The EU has already slapped the company with more than €8 billion in fines in 3 separate antitrust cases.
We opened today a formal antitrust investigation to assess whether Google has violated our EU competition rules by favouring its own online display advertising technology services in the so-called ad tech supply chain. Our investigation will focus on display advertising, where Google offers a number of services both to advertisers and publishers.
Separately, Google's YouTube service has won a legal challenge over copyrights at the European Court of Justice. The EU's top court said that online platforms were not liable for users that upload unauthorized videos or work, but that they could be if they don't implement tools to identify and remove content which is illegal or breaches copyright protections. Beijing is tightening the screws on cryptocurrencies, and the value of Bitcoin is plunging, dropping below $30,000 today for the first time in 5 months. Over the past few days, China's central bank has told major payments platforms and lenders not to trade or provide services that are linked to cryptocurrencies. Authorities have also shut down crypto mining operations in Sichuan province. As you can see on our graph here, a year ago, 1 Bitcoin was worth about $10,000. Its value peaked at over $63,000 in April, and it's since lost more than half of that. Other cryptocurrencies have also seen sharp sell-offs, with Ethereum and Dogecoin among those falling this week. Let's take a look at today's trading action now. Slightly higher close for the major European indices, gains of between about 1/10 and 1/3 of a percentage point in London, Paris, and Frankfurt. Slight losses in Milan there. Wall Street is trending slightly upwards. The Dow Jones steady after its best day since March. Investors have been hoping to hear from the U.S. Federal Reserve Chief Jerome Powell. He's about to begin addressing lawmakers. Markets will be watching closely for his comments on hot inflation and the impact that could have on monetary policy. French prosecutors have charged 4 executives at 2 companies with complicity in acts of torture for their role in selling surveillance technology to Libya's Muammar Gaddafi and Egypt's Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. The firms are suspected of selling internet surveillance software to those countries, which was then used to spy on opponents of the regimes. Catherine Viette reports.
It's an investigation 10 years in the making. Philippe Vanier, the former head of software firm Amisys, and Olivia Bobo, head of Nexa Technologies, along with 2 other executives, have been charged with complicity in acts of torture. The charges stem from their part in supplying surveillance software to Libya and Egypt that prosecutors say was used to spy on opposition figures that were later detained and tortured. The lawsuit brought by the International Federation for Human Rights.
This is a tremendous step forward. It means that what we see every day on the ground, namely the links between the activity of these surveillance companies and human rights violations, can be classified as crimes and lead to charges of complicity.
The story broke in August 2011 as the Arab Spring protests were gaining ground. French firms had sold high-tech services to dictatorships. These photos published by the Wall Street Journal show a phone-tapping center set up by Amisys in Libya. There, opposition figures and journalists were identified and tracked. Amisys confirmed it sold the technology to late strongman Muammar Gaddafi after his visit to former French President Nicolas Sarkozy in Paris in 2007. In 2017, the focus turned to Nexa, which is accused of selling a more powerful version of Amisys' software called Cerebro to Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. French judges are also investigating the sale of similar technology to Saudi Arabia.
I'll be back with more in the next hour, Monty.
Okay, thanks a lot, Kate. That's it for now. Stay tuned for Euro 2020 with Simon Harding coming up next.